shakalaka. What is going on, everybody? Randall here from CryptoLove with the man, Richard Heart. What's going on, Richard?
I'm enjoying my second of four interviews today.
Yeah, I had noticed you've got the whole lineup stacked. Keith
It's crazy.
Waring, me, Crypto 101, Crypto Euclid. You must be up to something. You must be scamming somebody out of something.
Master scam, dude. Master scam.
Yeah, well, that is good. Talking about master scammers, we have CZ and Justin Sun coming up after you, so everybody stay tuned.
Nice.
Yeah, no kidding about that. Yeah, so we are live today talking. And I guess for everyone who's in my audience who doesn't know too much about you, I mean, you've been in Bitcoin for a while. You were very successful before, and you've been retired since like the early 2000s. So can you just give everyone kind of like a quick once over, tell everyone about you
Sure.
so we can know a bit more?
Yeah. So I'm Richard Hart. I got 50,000 followers on Twitter, about 40K on YouTube. Started mining Bitcoin in early 2011, first quarter. Mined on GPUs. Was one of the first people to mine on GPUs. Back when the block reward was 50 and you didn't need to use a pool. You could just get 50 blocks on your own just by running the EXE.
Hmm.
And then, not 50 blocks, 50 coins of reward for a block. And then, I had already retired in 2003, had a marketing company, 150 employees, did 60 million a year annual sales, had a few 100,000 retail customers. Self-made man, started my first business out of my front yard, it's a car stereo store. Then I started a search engine optimization company. So first business was Audio Ecstasy, next business was Internet Marketing Masters, then XXX Toy Joy and lead feeds and Wibout, which is like a miracle cleaner, and we did everything, like you name it, anything we could sell on the internet. And then just quit the game and moved to Panama, got the shit robbed out of me. Then I moved to Argentina 6 months, and then I started traveling Europe. Lived in a hotel for 5 years, just traveling, but maybe 30 different countries. So I've traveled the world and been retired a long time and just read a lot and learned and learned and learned. And now I've got way too much knowledge, and I need to see it executed more in the world. So I wrote a couple books that aren't finished, but the outlines are done, so you could get all the utility out of them. If you want utility, you can go on you can download them for free. It's Scivive, t.me/Scivive, like survive through science. It's got every good idea I've ever had, pretty much, except the crypto ones, because I've been holding a bag of crypto since early 2011, forever, and I didn't really come out and publicly promote it until I saw Ethereum was overtaking Bitcoin's market cap, and did overtake it if you account future emission rates. And then I was one of few defenders for Bitcoin. It's like me, Trace Meyer, Andreas Antonopoulos, and Roger Ver drops off. He hates Bitcoin now. So like, who's out there really defending Bitcoin? Not that many guys. I'm one of the few. I don't know why. The good news is I'm extremely well qualified. I'm, serial entrepreneur, multiple successes, have great business background, and understand the economics, understand the technology. So I guess I'm well qualified to do it.
Yeah, and you're a smart guy too, which
Thanks,
I
man.
think anyone who watches any of your videos pick up on that. You kind of know your stuff. You know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I take it serious. I don't like being wrong, ever. So I'm very accurate with what I say, and I hedge where hedging needs hedged, and I speak in probabilities. Like if you ask me how long it's going to take to get somewhere, I'll be like, 7 minutes. I'll give it to the minute. I'll round it to the minute because I just want to make a better guess. I
Mhm.
think if you do that for 40 years, you eventually get good at it, I think.
Yeah.
I grew up in a school where everyone was way smarter than me, and if you weren't right, you were going to be you're going to be in a long argument. So when you grow up with a bunch of people looking for the exception always, you just
Mhm.
leave fewer exceptions because you want to save the hour.
Was that in the States?
Yeah, I went to Nova High School in Davie,
That must have
Florida.
been a long time before the No Child Left Behind thing.
Dude, my school was insane. My middle school taught us scheme programming, which is a dialect of Lisp, and logic before math, so that you could derive math from the logic. syllogistic inference, modus ponens, modus tollens, all that stuff. I learned that 6th grade. It was the most amazing educational experience I ever had. Then high school was worse. Then college was worse. So my middle school was the smartest. We learned set theory first. It was amazing. And you got to be smart to get in the program. But then I don't know, maybe if you have a really good education, it turns out that you end up more powerful later in life,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my schooling was kind of similar to that. We learned about dinosaurs in 2nd grade, and then it was kind of all downhill from there.
Dinosaurs are so crazy. They're the size of, they're not the size of houses. Their shit is the size of houses. They're the size of office buildings. That's mind blowing to me. That's why it's so, when people talk about the environment and conservation, I have to remind people that 99.9% of all things are permanently extinct, as will we be if we don't catch the asteroids and shift them off their path to not hit us. So since none of the other animals are likely to be doing that work, we must be the ones, the humans, we must be the ones to save all of the life on this planet by shifting the asteroids around. So if we have short-term environmental harm that gets us medium and long-term increased likelihood of preventing an extinction level event, it's probably a good deal. So I'm not full libertarian, fuck the environment mode, but I am I'm willing to have some people move off of the edges of the countries if the water gets a little higher, if there's some profit to be had technologically from it and we get that payoff. And I'm willing to have a 10 or 15 year suck period, or a period of 5 or 10 years of suck 10 or 15 years from now, as long as 20 or 30 years now it ends up even better. I think Elon Musk has done so much with electric cars that a lot of the pollution from motor vehicles is going to be greatly reduced.
Yeah, I still think that's a red herring. You ever read the books Freakonomics? They're talking about how carbon emissions are a red herring for methane emissions, which come from cows farting and stuff like that.
Yeah, but clean air is still nice to breathe anyway, even if it doesn't have as much effect on the ozone.
So what got you into Bitcoin? You said you got it in 2011. What was it that got you?
Saw it on Reddit. I saw it on, so when you're retired, you have just a lot of time to just read and travel. So I read Reddit, and it was very nerdy at the time. It's not so nerdy now. And I heard about Bitcoin when it was less than $1. And then I heard about some guy that sold his house for it when it was $1. And then I didn't get in until I saw, threads coming up on gaming forums about people with their GPUs mining it. So overclock.net had a bunch of people that were mining Bitcoin. And I had already done a lot of distributed computing stuff, donating time to the Boink project, folding proteins. So I was familiar with running distributed apps and just double-clicking EXEs and having them generate a lot of heat. And so I had a really strong video card at the time. It was a 5970, which was a dual GPU on one card. And I don't know, $1,000 or $1,200 video card or whatever. And I just double-clicked the EXE and started mining. And then when I saw the Wired article come out about the Silk Road, then I, bought in. Bought the top. Bought 30, went down to 1. Had I been slower with my purchase order, I would have 30x more money.
Well, so you're touching on something there that I think affects a lot of people in cryptocurrency, because we saw a lot of people get into cryptocurrency November, December, January of last year when it was at all-time highs, and now a lot of them are suffering. So you yourself said you kind of experienced something like that back when Silk Road. What did you glean from that? What lessons? You said you don't like to be wrong, so what lessons can be learned?
Well, one is the chart. So the 30 thing was, the chart didn't have as much history to try and derive fractals from it. So if the chart is likely to do in the future what it has done in the past, so for instance, if you fall out of a parabolic advance, you lose 80% of the advance. What do you know? We're down 83% in Bitcoin. Who knew? Well, anybody that's a technical analyst knew, right? So I knew I called the multi-year bear market at 8,500, because I called a bottom at 9,300. It didn't hold, and I knew it should have. And I'm like, yep, that's over, dudes. That's it. If I call a bottom and it don't hold, there ain't no more bull market. It's over. So pack it up. We're going to be in for the suck for a good long while now.
Was that about the time of like the death cross happening back in like
No,
March?
it was 6 months before the death cross.
Okay.
So this would have been in February, February or March. So I called 8,500. We dropped down to 58.55. Then we bounced up to 11.7. And then here we are now at 35, 36, 35.50 last I looked.
Yeah.
So, I know that the bull market will be back. And if we fractal, so our targets for bottoming are either an 86% drop, which puts us at about 2,800, which is a repeat of the 86% drop of the last bear market, or we could revisit the previous peak of the last bear market at 1175, or we could overshoot that by 30% and go down to the 900s. Those are the three fractals. So one is a percentage from all-time high, one is a revisit the old top, and one is a shoot past the old top a bit. Either three of these would be technically viable. A lot of people right now are betting on this 200 weekly average, which I think is bullshit. Okay, these guys that have been trading moving averages have had to keep increasing the time frame of the moving average over and over again as the price has fallen through it. So it used to be the 50-day moving average, then it was the 100-day moving average, then it was the 200-day moving average, and now it's the fucking 200-week moving average. Get the fuck out of here! Like, you need to go away with this moving average bullshit. It didn't work the last 6 of them. I don't think it'll work this one. So I don't give a fuck about those moving averages. Now, the moving averages I do care about are the 5,200 daily cross, which is a golden cross. And that just basically is a way of saying the price has been coming down for a long time, and now it's starting to go up again. That's all it means. So you're taking your 200-day moving average, which right now I think is like 6,200, maybe 6,150. And it keeps coming down to us because our price is so low, wherever that is, right? And the 50-day moving average is just, where have we been recently? And then when they cross, that you've been, for 50 days, doing pretty good compared to the, almost a year of suck. And it's just, you can look back at the chart. It plays in all markets. I mean, in theory, if price is derived from people buying and selling is derived from human emotion, and human emotion has common time periods which it changes its feelings, then there is validity to some time frames of moving averages. And so I think the reason the 5,200 death cross and golden cross exists the way it does is because that's just the way human beings have kind of evolved to, here's the time frame we care about the recent price, and here's the time frame we care about like how much it used to be, and you get the idea.
Yeah, and you talk about kind of time frames that these emotions change. Now with Bitcoin, it seems like it's on a 3-year kind of time frame.
It's getting longer. It's getting longer every cycle, and part of that's because we have more economic mass to move. So as the market cap moves higher and higher, it requires more and more large sell orders to move the price. So it's harder to move it up and it's harder to move it down. So we're getting reduced peaks. Like if we had done a fractal of the last increase, like multiple X from bottom of the bear, we would have went past 20K. So we're actually getting smaller moves up and longer time frames as we get larger economic mass, which as a speculator, it kind of sucks because now you got to wait longer for your mad gains, and your mad gains don't go as high. And you still have to sit through this fucking 83% drop anyway. So
yeah. And I
the
think
next coin I buy will
with a Z at the end, correct?
Say again?
Mad gains with a Z at the end.
I do like the Z at the end. The next coin I buy, I'll pay 0 for. So I'm not going to buy someone else's bags. Oh, your coin's up 10x? Keep it. I'm going to go get this one. Get 1,000x.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start talking about that stuff because I'm sure a lot of people want. So I don't want to jump right into BitcoinHEX, but for those people who want to see that stuff will be coming in the future. First thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin. So I mean, probably like a year ago, you did a very good debate with Roger Ver, and I guess the title that I made this video is Bitcoin Dead, because, you've talked about a lot of difficulties that Bitcoin has, like transactions, mining, uh, bugs, lack of developers or loss of good developers. And it seems like you mentioned previously how there are a lot of Bitcoin supporters like yourself, like Andreas Antonopoulos, other ones that may have dropped off like Roger Ver. You potentially have a project coming out, BitcoinHEX. Does that mean that you're losing faith in Bitcoin, and is Bitcoin dead?
So if you care about money, any person with an audience that has a good idea for a new coin will make multiples of their money doing that instead of holding the old dinosaur, period. So, I made this prediction a long time ago that anyone with an audience is going to try and make something useful in crypto because it pays so well. So you'd prefer that, by the way, than people straight up scamming. Like, there's a lot of that, right? So people, like, if you have an honest attempt to build some new functionality that is necessary, right? Like Bitcoin does currency, but it doesn't do finance, right? It doesn't replace all of the middleman that it could. So who gets rich in Bitcoin? Exchanges. Why? Because Bitcoin doesn't do exchange. It does currency. Exchanges do exchange. So they make $1 billion each. Coinbase, $1 billion. BitMEX, $1 billion. Binance, $1 billion, right? Well, why are those all worth $1 billion? Because Bitcoin isn't strong enough to do that job on its own. Well, there's other jobs Bitcoin can't do. Currently, it can't do anonymity, right? Currently, it can't do what BitcoinHEX does, which is time deposits, savings accounts. There's $600 billion of savings accounts in the United States right now, just under 100,000, not including jumbo CDs, right? Not including T-bills and bonds and other things that have interest over time. Bitcoin's not designed to do that. Something needs to do it. I built that, right? Someone needed to build it. I built it. So as far as Bitcoin being dead, Bitcoin was designed as a currency and it failed 100%. It is not a currency. Now, the good news is that even though it was designed as a currency, it has functioned very well as something more valuable than currency, which is a store of value. So a currency is not worth as much, or rather a payment network is not worth as much as a store of value. Gold is worth $7.7 trillion. PayPal plus MasterCard plus Visa is worth 10 times less, $770 billion. So I'm okay with Bitcoin failing as a currency and being a reserve. And if Lightning becomes a currency, great, right? Now here's the problem I have with that. Lightning works for all the damn cryptos. It doesn't just work for Bitcoin. Ethereum's got their version of Lightning with Raiden and state channels and Plasma and all this other stuff, right? So exactly why is the thing that saves Bitcoin Lightning, but that thing doesn't save everything else, right? That doesn't make sense to me. So Bitcoin has a lot of, I don't want to shit talk Bitcoin too much because it still has the most wallets installed, the smartest developers. Boy, this list should be longer. Smartest developers, most
oldest.
wallets installed, most regulatory certainty, best onboarding for institutions if they want to get on. CME has it. CBOE has it. Custodial agreements exist for it. Still kind of the reserve currency for crypto, although all the stable coins are kind of eating its lunch now in the bear market. Has the least volatility down, kind of. There's a couple coins that are at all-time highs, but as far as things that are down 95%, Bitcoin's down only 83%. Doesn't sound like a big difference, but it is about a 2x difference. So to go from an 80% drop to a 90% drop, you got to lose half your stack again, right? So the math is you had 100, you lost 80 of them, now you're down to 20. You want to be down 90%, you got to lose another 10 of your 20 to get to the 10 of 10 plus 90 is 100. So that's all good. But I don't want to fucking wait around for 4 years to make like a 10x. I want like 1,000x faster. So why not do that? I held Bitcoin forever, and the people that bought Ethereum made more money faster if they sold the top.
Right.
Well, fuck that. Okay, well, I'm going to go do the smart thing,
Mm-hmm. So then is BitcoinHEX just a money grab?
Yeah, it's a money grab. It's a money grab for you. It's a money grab for me. It's a money grab for everyone that likes free money. And then it transitions from being a money grab into being a top 3 crypto. And then it transitions from being a top 3 crypto into being the top 1 crypto. As long as the game theory works as it's programmed. It's the best game theory in crypto. So like money grab. Yes, if you're starting a currency, you need to grab money to be a currency. It's a war for liquidity, right? The thickest order books has the most utility as a currency. It incurs the least harm for people buying and selling through slippage, right? So like if PayPal wanted to buy $1 billion of Bitcoin, the price would move against them 10 or 20%. And then if they wanted to sell it, the price would move against them again 10 or 20%. So if you want to buy $1 billion of crypto, you're going to get fucked for 40% round trip. That's a weakness. That means you're a bad currency. You don't have that problem with dollars. You want to sell $1 billion of euros and buy $1 billion of US dollars? No one gives a fuck. No one cares. It's a better currency because it's got more liquidity. So, people say money grab like there's no free money in crypto. They gave out XRP for free. You just had to give them your email address. Top 10 crypto. Top 2 crypto. They gave out Lumens for free to Bitcoin holders. Number 9 crypto. They gave out Bitcoin Cash for free to Bitcoin holders. Number 5 or 6 crypto. They gave out Bitcoin SV to Bitcoin Cash holders. It's top 10. Like, how much free money do you need to see before you figure out, oh, in this game, yeah, you can actually get free money, and you're stupid not to take it. Mm-hmm. So the thing about grabbing money is that usually it means that what you're doing has no reason to exist, right? My project does higher transaction throughput with bug bounties, with external auditing, with lower fees, with an extra function Bitcoin doesn't have and will not have, which is interest bearing, that pays holders instead of miners. And when you pay miners, they dump on your ass on exchange to pay electric bills. So you're literally watching the price of your coin go down to pollute the environment. That's what you're getting, right? In our system, if more people stake, no one's selling. There's no electric bills to pay. But in a proof of work system, if more people mine, then the difficulty goes up. Then everyone just has higher electric bills for the same coin issuance. And then the electric company gets rich, the environment gets fucked, and the price of the coin goes down, right? Now, I should say we are a hybrid. Our transactions do occur on a proof of work network, which is Ethereum. But it's more efficient, and piggybacking on top of them doesn't require any increase in hash rate whatsoever until such point as that the economic mass is much larger. And there's a lottery that their proof of staking and sharding stuff works and reduces the environmental impact. If it doesn't work, we stick with what we got, which works now.
Mm-hmm. So BitcoinHEX isn't a chain fork or a code fork of Bitcoin. It's an Ethereum-based project?
So it's an ERC20, which is, so basically Ethereum is its own token, and Ethereum is a world computer. And you can run other programs on Ethereum. That's the reason it exists. And what people found out is the most successful and adopted program that people run on Ethereum is other tokens. So other tokens on Ethereum is just a program. And the standard by which you can make those tokens is called ERC20. And multiple billion-dollar projects have launched as ERC20s, EOS being one of them, sold $4 billion of their ERC20, and then airdropped the new token to their Ethereum ERC20 holders. TRX has done the same thing, and we're doing the same thing, except we're staying as an ERC20. There's no reason for us to launch another network when we already have one that has higher hash rates than all those other ones and has external auditing, and the other ones don't, and is already launched multiple billion-dollar projects and the other ones haven't. There's no reason to beta test a new thing and find out how it sucks and lose money doing that and have lower hash rate when we can just use the better thing now. So,
So you must have a lot of confidence in Ethereum in order to do that.
It's the absolute best choice available to us today. If something else becomes available, I'll reevaluate, but everything else is like a joke. RSK is a joke. EOS is a joke. Why is EOS a joke? Because they can just vote and take your money. It's not crypto.
Right.
By design, in the white paper, it's like, yeah, we're going to have a vote, and if we want to take your money, we can. that ain't crypto. Fuck off. Like, no. So I've looked at all the options. This is by far the most secure option. You know, if we had launched as a Bitcoin fork, we'd have low hash rate. If you do proof of work change, you have even lower hash rate. This is by far the best.
Mm-hmm. So right now, pretty much any Bitcoin holder will be able to get BitcoinHEX for free.
Almost, as long as you're using a normal address or a normal SegWit address. If you're using multi-sig or time locking or some other weird scripts or custom scripts, any of that weird crap, you won't be able to. The vast majority of people will be able to. So if you've got SegWit or normal or an address that starts with 1 or BC1 or 3, you're probably going to be able to claim.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I also noted that in some of your videos, you kind of don't particularly like Bitcoin maximalists.
I'm a maximalish. So I want Bitcoin to be the best, but I know there's things it ain't going to be able to do. Can't do anonymity, can't do interest bearing, can't do paying people interest for longer time locks, can't do distributed exchange, can't really launch tokens on top of it. It does what it does. But if you want any of those other things and you want to replace other middlemen, right? If you want to see exchanges stop making $1 billion as middlemen by making that on fees, somebody needs to replace it with a peer-to-peer trustless system. If you want to see, savings accounts in addition to currency, someone needs to build that. So I built it, and I would love there to be less scams in the world. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you're doing a project whose focus is on doing higher throughput, I don't care. We don't need higher throughput. Blocks are empty, bro. We have no adoption. 4.3 million wallets have over $100 in them in Bitcoin. That's it, right? So where are all the users, bro? We ain't got no users. Like 20% of the Bitcoin blocks are taken up by some other project which just spams them to secure other networks. Like I don't care about high throughput. I don't really care about anonymity that much, because if you want it, you can get it with the tools we have now by just taking a small amount and cycling it over and over again, right? Mm-hmm. So what do I care about? I care about what works, which is speculation and store value. That works. That's 80 to 90% of the actual market value of all the crypto ecosystem. So if that's all that's working, why not do that part and do it better and just build something that pumps to the moon? Because that's what works. All this other stuff with utility tokens and digital ledger technology, they don't have any economic mass required to use them. So their price shouldn't pump. It does pump because people are stupid, but it shouldn't pump. And then over time, the stupidity shows itself when dApps have no adoption whatsoever. None. So like, if I went to you as a customer and I was like, yeah, I want to use your service. And you're like, sure, you can use our service. I'm like, okay, well, what payment methods do you accept? Well, we could take Visa, but we chose not to because we want to sell you this token thing. Or we could take cash, but we chose not to because we want to sell you some token thing. So we're going to need you to send AML KYC documents to some weird country and wait for them to approve you after you've sent them pictures of yourself holding a selfie. And then maybe after you're approved, and maybe if your wire gets there, and maybe if their exchange is online, maybe you can buy some of these tokens and wait for a few hours until the transfer is complete and confirmed, and then maybe you could buy our service. What? It's the stupidest onboarding I've ever heard of. You'll lose 75% of your customers immediately. That's generous. You'll probably lose 90% of your customers immediately, maybe worse. Utility tokens are retarded. DLT tokens, the same. If the only reason you ever need a blockchain, the slowest and least reliable database in the entire universe, the only reason you need that is if you need censorship resistance. Is someone trying to censor what you're doing? If they're not, you can just use logging, right? You can use like a quorum, like, okay, we write the thing if these people decide to write it, and we keep a record of the history. You don't need censorship resistance. No one's trying to censor what you're doing, right? So the National Institute of Standards in the United States, NIST, produced a flowchart which shows when you actually need a blockchain. And they go, do you need a mutable history? Okay. Do you need to interact with people that you don't trust? Okay. Well, if you do trust someone, then just let them run this database, right? And then they just gave you all the options that are way smarter. And then if you finally get through all those things, then you need a blockchain. So why does BitcoinHEX need a blockchain? Because we need censorship resistance. There are countries where People are restricted from how they can financially interact. We don't care to help those bad actors control their populations in the way that they are. So we need censorship resistance. The vast majority of applications do not.
Okay. Something that you mentioned a little while, probably like 5 minutes ago, I didn't want to interrupt. You mentioned how, or it seemed to me, I could be wrong here, so correct me if I'm wrong, but it seemed to me like BitcoinHEX is basically, the use case of BitcoinHEX is using game theory to create a blockchain, or to create a cryptocurrency with a very large market cap, to create the number one cryptocurrency.
Yep. Yes.
All right.
The main function of the currency is for the price to go up. That's what it's designed to do. It does that by removing supply. It removes supply by getting people rewarded only if they lock their coins. The longer you lock, the more you get paid. Then, as long as the demand is static or increasing, price goes up as supply decreases. This is different from any other interest-bearing system that I've seen, because masternodes and other staking coins allow you to unstake whenever you want. Oh, bad news, China ban, dump it. And then they eject. Then the price shits. In this system, you don't want to eject because it's a penalty. If you eject and you abort, you pay a penalty to the people who stayed in. Oh, maybe you want to stick around now, right? And this is, by the way the rest of the world already works. If you're a founder in a company, you can't sell your shares whenever you want. If you've got outside money, they give you vesting terms. You need to stay for this number of years, and then this number of shares comes out of vesting, and then you can sell them, right? So you're restricted on time for the increased reward in startup companies. In treasuries and bonds and savings accounts with time locks like CDs and time deposits, which are $600 billion in the United States alone, and those are just under 100,000. Jumbo CDs, which I couldn't even find a number for, are gigantic as well, I'm sure. And it's just the United States. If the concept of time value of money and being paid more for not having access to your money has been around for a very, 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 very long time, and no one else is doing it, right? So I'm doing it. And as far as those penalties are concerned, they were copied from the legacy system. So if you get a 3-month CD and you withdraw early, you get no interest. If you get a 6-month CD and you withdraw early, you lose 3 months. If you get a year CD and you withdraw early, you lose 6 months. So you lose about half of the interest that you should have got with a 3-month minimum on any of the CDs in the United States. Now, that's obviously different per institution. Some are better, some are worse. They do tend to give you a little bit less harsh of a penalty for like 5-year and up, maybe 3-year and up. We keep it with a half the whole way because it's good game theory. See, the difference is in those systems, when you get your CD, you're not reducing anyone else's payouts. But in our system, when you lock up your coins, particularly for a longer time and get all those bonus shares, those 20% extra shares per year, you're reducing everyone else's payout in the pool. So you need to do what you said you were going to do, or you're going to pay those guys that you're screwing over by taking those extra shares and by making them get paid less. Because the inflation of the currency is static, and what changes the profit ratio and the like, if only 1% of the coin stake, you're going to get 369% interest just by being in the staking pool per year. It's very unlikely only 1% of coins will stake.
Right.
So if 10% of coins stake, now you're at 36.9. If 20% stake, you're at half of that, right? If 40% of stake, you're at half of that.
So if 100% stake, you're at like 3%?
3.69.
Okay.
If 100% stake. But I think that's impossible. I mean, it would have to mean no one ever lost a key, and and even if everyone had staked, you would still have differences in return on investment, because the people that stake longer have all those bonus shares, and they're going to crowd out the money of the people that stake less long. So this war for staking longer would make it so there's still winners and losers in the pool, even if 100% of people staked. Now, what do you think the market value would be for the 1 or 2 coins that was not staked, right? Like if supply and demand sets price and there's no supply because it's all locked up, it's called, I like to call it a virtual lending. So you're virtually lending value from your locked coins to the coins that are unlocked because they can trade. It's a really neat system. There's a lot of other stuff in there. Like if you don't, so you've got 3 revenue streams as a staker. One, the interest pool, which gets really, really high if not that many other people are staking, and more reasonable if a lot of people are staking. But if a lot of people are staking, the market price probably went up a lot too. So they balance each other, right? Your other 2 revenue streams are if people eject an emergency end stake, you get half their penalty. And if people late end stake after a 2-week grace period, the staker pool gets paid 1% of their stack every week. Now, why does that exist? 2 reasons. In Ethereum, there's nothing automatic. If you ask it to wake you up at 5 p.m., it cannot. In order for Ethereum to do anything, you need to ask it to do it and pay a fee. Pretty funny for a world computer. This is the price we pay for trustlessness. So when you've got your expired shares sitting in the pool, diluting everyone else's payments, making them all get paid less, that's not fair to everyone else. You need to pull your shares out so that they can all be paid normally again. If you can't do it because you're in jail or dead or been hit by a car, you're going to start getting that penalty. Unless anyone can run that for you. Anyone in the world can run the good accounting function and pull your expired shares out so you don't get that penalty. It's also a neat trick that if you don't want to take delivery for some reason, maybe taxes, you can end your stake using the good accounting function, but not really end it and take delivery, right? So you can run good accounting. You've already got your gains in there. You're not going to get any penalties. Your shares have been pulled out. Everyone's getting paid fairly. And then when you really want to take possession of the coins, then you can run the end stake function. So I don't know whether it's going to be the case that someone out of the kindness of their heart runs this good accounting feature for everyone and pays the fees to do it, which I don't think will be very high. Maybe that occurs. Or maybe the game theory is there that you were in the pool that got rewarded when people screwed up, lucky you, and don't be one of the people that screws up, or you'll be the one that paid that pool. So it's like a high risk reward thing. I don't know what the future state of that will be. I know that I had to make that game theory so that the system would have an accurate system state that gets updated, right? Someone has to pay to update the system state.
Okay. So a couple other questions that come up. First one is, so it sounds too good to be true. Or it sounds very good. It sounds
Crypto.
very good.
It's all fake internet money we made up ourselves, guys, and it's worth billions and billions of dollars. It is too good to be true, but it's real.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, I just wanted to clarify that because it's like the greedy part of me coming out. It's like, oh, get this thing for free. Oh. And then the whole purpose of it is for it to become the most valuable cryptocurrency out there.
That's how it's designed.
So, that sounds awesome to the greedy part of me. The skeptical part of me says, how is something like this different from BitConnect or different from proof of weak hands, where the whole goal of the system is to not have people sell?
Proof of weak hands had a 10% fee on any transaction, which means it has no utility as a currency whatsoever. Not being able to be a currency if you're crypto is a pretty big fuck up. They also have had multiple security failures where their entire balance of the contract was hacked and stolen. And their marketing pitches were a game, not a real thing. That's a lot of fuck ups, right? And your project can only endure so many fuck ups before your market cap takes a hit. They also chose to interact with an ecosystem that has a lower market cap to start with. So if you look at me giving people free tokens as a freemium product, right? So let's take Clash of Clans. Clash of Clans has 100 million users a day. It's a free game. They make billions of dollars on a free game. Wait a second. Hold on. Free game. They make billions of dollars. Oh, some people make it not free. Some people FOMO in. Now it makes sense, right? So if you want to be irritated and endure shitty UI, user experience, UX, then you can do that in Clash Clans, and I have. Or you could give them like $1,000, which I also have, and I feel horrible about because it's a terrible, horrible, disgusting, garbage, casual, grindy, horrible, disgusting game. But I'm rich, so fuck it. I don't want to wait. Buy some gems, baby. Let's get on Boost. Drop my knights in there. Drop my dragons. Glad to be free of gaming. It was a terrible experience. All games. I don't play any longer. Used to be addicted to it for a long time. So they make, and by the way, like rich guys like me are the reason they make the vast majority of that money. It's because there's people that pay 100, 200K a year to play Clash Clans.
Damn.
It's fucking like, what, right? So let's look at freemium as a way to onboard and kickstart a new currency. I'm giving you a free token, and it is awesome, and I'm going to show you mad gains. And then you're going to think, wait a second, I like these gains. How can I get more of these gains? God, I wish I had more of these tokens. Market buy. So it's fucking smart. It's really good. It's really good. I'm very proud. So you can, the reason that your free thing will go up and pump is for the same reason horrible, terrible, shittier things have pumped. So go look at the top 10 and tell me which of those projects you respect and think it's priced properly. That garbage being priced where it's at is the reason this good project will be priced higher, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, since you bring up the top 10, I've seen you say a number of times, tell me why those top 10 projects are in the top 10.
Well, first, it's tautological. So as long as 10 things exist, you will always be able to put them in order. So no matter what, there will always be a top 10. Yep. Now, the next point will be like, okay, let's look at the price differentials. Is Bitcoin SV, which is a fork of a fork, supposed to be in the top 10? I do not think so. I think the reason that we have so many horrible, terrible projects that are highly valued is two parts. One part, idiots that buy these things because they're just believe whatever they're told. So those would be projects that are marketed well, right? I'm trying to make less enemies because these are my clients now, okay? They're going to be trading their coins for my coins, so let's not have them hate me off the bat, right? So I'm trying to shit talk other bad projects less. Like, let the bad projects be bad, and we're just going to be quiet about it, and we're just going to build a good project and hope that they figure it out, right? Old me would just be like, screw every project, and then I just have a lot of enemies, and the stupid people get wrecked anyway because they just buy anyway. So like, I'm not gonna burn my cool guy points if I'm not really gonna save anyone anyway, right? If I want to save these people, the best thing I can do is put them to a better project, and I think I know what the best project is. So the second one, so we've got idiots FOMOing the wrong things. Okay, that's one cause for overvaluation in top 10. Second reason would be stupid hedge funds that are too stupid to pick winners and losers, so they just treat everything as a basket. And they look at the market cap and they go, oh, look, this new shitcoin that got launched is 10% of the market cap now. So we better allocate 10% of our assets in our fund to this new stupid shitcoin that's now 10%. So since these assholes won't choose winners and losers because they're technically inept, we have overvalued shitcoins. They won't listen. Nothing I can do. I can't tell the dum-dums to learn and not FOMO stupid shit. And I can't tell the hedge funds to stop doing market cap weighted things. So here we are.
Yeah. I really like one of your more recent videos where you were just like calling people a retard and like, stop being an idiot. You're all retarded. So I was curious. I was curious after watching that. I mean, how can someone actually be a smart investor?
Well, I mean, you can... That's a really hard question. That's like, how many ways are there to walk from your house to the store? Well, fuck. There's a lot of ways to walk there, right? Any number of ways you want. So I can tell you that buying and going long is way more powerful than going short. So if you shorted Bitcoin at 20K, if you shorted one Bitcoin at 20K and it went to zero, guess how much money you made? 20K. But if you bought at a penny for 20K and it went up to 20K, you made 20 million. So, and it might be more than that actually. I think it would have to be $1 for, well, anyway. You made a lot of damn money, right? So let's say you bought 20,000 Bitcoins at $1. All right. So it didn't even go to zero, just went down to $1 for you. You went long 20,000 Bitcoins for $20,000. They went up to $20,000 in price. You now have 20,000 squared, which is 20,000 times 2 with 3 extra zeros, which is 40 million. So you could either make short the same movement, 20 grand, or long 40 million. Like, so long is way better than short. And you can also have longer time horizon. I bought the peak at 30 and held that shit past 1. Worked out just fine. If you have a longer than 3 year time horizon, maybe it's 3.5 years, 4 years now, since we're getting larger mass, you can hold through the dips, right? As long as you have a real project. If you have a fake project, sometimes they don't come back, right? And what else? I mean, if you like what I say about price, go on my calls channel, t.me/Richard's calls. When I see things in price, I mention them. Or if I'm doing a live stream, I mention it. We got a trading channel, t.me/straight charts. Either of those places is good to talk price. You know, price is it's an interesting animal because it's so far unrelated to the technology. A terrible, stupid, horrible idea can go to a very high valuation, which is why if you short shitcoins, you got a limited lifespan because eventually you will get wrecked. I mean, TRX just did 150% move up in 58 days and then a 36% move down in like 12 days. And it had disconnected from the market hard on the exchange. So there was a big cascade of liquidations that kept just driving the price higher and higher and no one could get out. And then it emptied the insurance fund and everyone got out of deleveraged. No one even understands what I'm saying probably, but
that wasn't because of the BitTorrent.
It was, but the futures participants shouldn't have had to worry about that price because the futures participants will not be rewarded those airdrops on that exchange. I'm talking about BitMEX in this case. Use my show link, 10% off. richardheart.win. So, you know, you would hate to be short TRX and then watch it disconnect from market by like an extra 50% just to liquidate your ass and then watch the price go immediately back down to where you thought it would go. So, but the guy that was long and got exited on the auto deleverage at the very peak, of which there's a few guys in my chat room that got that, they shorted like 940 sats. There's a guy in my chat room that shorted 940 sats on MEX on TRX pair, and now it's like, I don't know, 400 or something. Well, it dropped. Maybe it's 500 or 600. Yeah, there's still money to be made in trading, and but it's just hard, right? Like you will, if you're new to it, you'll probably get annihilated. It's better to get a coin at 0 and hold it. Can't lose. Than to take large risk over and over and over again, where your net worth is only as good as your last trade.
All right, well let's talk about that because it sounds good. Obviously not financial advice. I mean, the greedy part of me is the part of me that says it sounds good, but you know, the greedy part of me is the part of me that made some money buying cryptocurrencies when I did. So
it's not a bad idea to buy at the bottom of bear market. I mean, if you're gonna buy crypto, everything being down 85-95%, that's a much better deal than when it was 8-10 times higher.
Yeah. So I put your YouTube channel link and also the BitcoinHEX link down in the description. It says 4 weeks away or so from the...
Yeah, that's inaccurate. So we added support for those 3 addresses, the SegWit addresses, so that everyone wouldn't have to move their coins into a normal 1 address, or those fancy new native SegWit BEC32 that start with BC1 that no one uses, but they're pretty cool. So that put us behind a little bit, and you know, we're still internally testing. So the time frame looks like 2 to 3 weeks on our end, internal testing, finishing contract, lock the contract, push it to GitHub, get public review, and submit it to audit at the same time. Hopefully the auditor's available. Hopefully it only takes them 2 to 3 weeks. That's 6 weeks. In which case, if it comes out of audit and we don't have to fix anything, great. Then we can set a snapshot date at least 2 weeks in the future. That's going to be about 8 weeks. When you start a timer, you kind of just have to keep counting the timer. Your option is to either So I started counting the weekly timer like 8 weeks ago, and now we're at like week 4 or something. And my option is either stay on week 4 for a week or two, which is what I chose, or to like start moving it the other direction, which seems weirder. So, yeah, it ain't gonna be 4 weeks.
So how do most people? How are people going to be able to claim BitcoinHEX? Because it looks
it's
like
really
a
easy.
validated transaction with a Bitcoin wallet,
really
but they
easy.
also have to use MetaMask or something like that.
Here's how you do it. So if you go on the website and you go to the bottom, there's a 5-minute, 40-second video. This shows you how to install MetaMask and make a referral link. You should make a referral link because you would make 20% on everyone that claimed using your referral link. That's a lot of damn money.
In the description.
There you go. Good man. So that same method that you're using to make your Ethereum address to make a referral link, it also works for claiming. So now you've got MetaMask installed. Now you've got an Ethereum address. Your BitcoinHEX tokens just go into your Ethereum address as a token. So your Ethereum address is your BitcoinHEX address. So all you're going to do if you want to claim is you're going to open up your Bitcoin wallet. You're going to go to the BitcoinHEX claim tool. You're going to tell it your Bitcoin address. It's going to give you something to sign. You copy it, you paste it to your Bitcoin wallet, you click sign. You copy the signature, you paste it back in, you click submit, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
So you copy, paste, submit, done.
I noticed you mentioned a couple wallets like Electrum in there, but can you use like a ledger for doing that?
Yep, you can use Trezor, Ledger. So first of all, MetaMask supports Trezor and Ledger, so you can keep your keys in that if you want. Pretty neat. Another feature of the system, right? A lot of new cryptocurrencies, they don't have a Trezor or Ledger that lets you use it. Our cryptocurrency, hardware wallet support right off the bat. You're welcome. You can also sign statements from your Trezor and Ledger to claim. We've tested it, works fine. You can also use Trezor and Ledger through Electrum if you want and sign. You can also use Coinomi and sign. So Trezor, Ledger, Coinomi, Electrum, they all sign. Bitcoin Core signs for most things. It can't sign for BEC32, but I don't think many people are using Bitcoin Core's wallet anyway. And you can import those keys. So if you have a Bitcoin Core wallet and you're using BEC32, which almost no one is, you can just copy paste those keys to Electrum and have it make a signature for you. You can do it offline. It doesn't even need to be online.
Awesome. So for anyone who wants to, link down in the description for that stuff. I am curious, before we finish up, tell me about that little candelabra by your side. I noticed that's in all your videos.
Yeah, I got this thing on eBay, and I thought it would be gigantic. I thought it would be like human-sized, because that's what the picture looked like, and it was expensive, so I thought it was human-sized. And then it was just little. I was like, oh, fuck, oh well. And I used to have it like in the entryway in the foyer, and a drunk girl knocked it over off of its pedestal and bent the candles back. They're supposed to be forward, right? Like flying that way, but now they go like that way, and I don't feel like welding it. I don't even have a oxyacetylene torch anymore. I have to buy one. So it's just awesome looking, and I don't want anyone to knock it over anymore, so I want to put it in a lower height. So there it is. It just looks cool, you know? Everything in my house looks cool. I have a lot of really cool antique stuff, so it's great. Like, antiques are higher quality and more functional, and you make money by owning them. So like, why would you pay more for stuff that is less useful and you can't resell and is uglier?
Better marketing.
Yeah, like, it's just, antiques are awesome. They just take you longer to acquire because they're not always available. Like, you have to wait for what you want and then buy it at auction, pretty much. So this is like 300 years old, the thing behind me. It's from the Baroque. Well, I guess you could call it more Gothic than Baroque. It's Gothic.
Cool. Well,
this is Baroque. That's Gothic.
All right. That's pretty much all of my questions. Anything else?
Well, you know, listening to us talk is only as useful as we can make your life better. So, you know, if you want to get free knowledge, download my free books and read them. You'll find useful stuff in them. t.me/sci-vive. If you want to get rich in the bear market, I think BitcoinHEX is going to be awesome. Go to BitcoinHEX.com. There's 1,300 of us and sitting in the Bitcoin-only hex BitcoinHEX only chat, about 1,400 of us now. T.me/BitcoinHEX. Come say hi, chat with us. Everybody in there knows what's going on. We got a trading channel, T.me/Strape Charts. Got a general crypto chat, about 6,000 users, T.me/Strape. If you want to trade on BitMEX, 10% discount, richardheart.win. You shouldn't do it though, you'll probably lose money. I know I'm missing something. If you
Well,
want
think about it. I did want to tell everyone how we actually met. So Richard messaged me on Telegram saying, "Hey, there's somebody impersonating you, trying to do whatever." And there's so many of these people that just go on Telegram and impersonate me and try and get people to send them money and whatever.
Yeah.
And
so I've got someone impersonating me on Instagram, and then I've had fake Ivan, fake you, and fake who's the other guy? Fake Doug Polk try and scam me. I like to fuck with them, you know. I tell them, look, man, I'll send you 10 Bitcoin. Just send me 1 Bitcoin. I need to pay the fees.
That's awesome.
Reverse advance fee fraud. It's actually a thing. It's called 419 baiting. So 419 is a Nigerian scam email based off of like the criminal statute number that I guess it has in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. And so there's this thing called 419 baiting. I think it's .com as well. And you can get these guys to do really weird things to themselves, like hang a laptop off their balls and drip hot candle wax on them stuff. It says like, do you know I'm serious now? Like, like they will really work hard to scam you for your money. And the trick is to like counter scam them. There's also a guy that does this with the Indian call center scammers on Twitch TV all the time. Mm-hmm. His name's, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's always wearing glasses. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's got a voice changer that he sounds like an old lady. He's like, oh, you want me to enter my credit card? And then he uploads a virus to them. Like, he's like, he sends them his, I don't know if he does this, but I know people that do it. You send them your credit card as an EXE, and then you basically own the call center's computer, and then just counter hack them pretty much. So if you can get the call center rep to double click your EXE, like, you nuke them.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's probably a federal crime, but yes, it is kind of cool.
But that's like, I mean, that's why everybody wants to be a hacker. Like, I remember when that movie Hackers came out back in the day. I mean, doing stuff like that's just so fun.
Agree. Think about it this way, guys. If we now have programmable money, what's the first program we should make? Interest. So, you know, if you want to get rich, maybe you learn how to develop Solidity and find something that isn't already done yet. Maybe you work the enemy angle or the distributed exchange angle. You know, there's things that we need in this space. If you know a company that's making $1 billion, that shit needs to stop. They need to get replaced. They're making too much money. How is it useful for the world to have an exchange make $1 billion on its customers? They just took that money from the customers. How's that good for the world? Are they developing the software? No. Are they doing outreach and marketing software? No. They're just making $1 billion as middlemen. So we need more crypto, more peer-to-peer, less centralized bullshit. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be a hacker, learn how to do crypto. Well, other people talk about it. I build it. Really, my devs build it, but I help a lot.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Thank you so much for live streaming today. Awesome to meet you. Awesome to hang out.
Thanks a lot, man. It was really good talking to you. I appreciate the opportunity. It's nice to talk to somebody who's got more followers than me by like factor 3. Well done, sir.
Thanks very much, man. Enjoy. Peace out to everybody.
See you, man. Ciao.